A very good morning to all our Sports Today family members. Here are the latest news headlines that's doing the rounds this Thursday. And all eyes will be on the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad because the first game today, India will have a lot more attention to that. Indian fans will have a lot more attention to that. It is West Indies versus South Africa at the Narendra Modi Stadium. Now, the outcome of that particular match is going to determine India's future course when you look at the T20 World Cup semi-final prospects. Because number one, if West Indies beat South Africa, then the path to get to the semi-final becomes even more difficult for the Indian cricket team. Because you have to then ensure, if you want South Africa also to lose, then they have to lose to Zimbabwe as well. So that is the one major thing we are looking at this stage. So here are the permutations and combinations for this particular game. If West Indies win, India then has to win both by huge margins, Zimbabwe and West Indies. Potentially both matches by over 60-70 runs. That's a task, but it can be done. If South Africa win, then West Indies versus India becomes a straight shootout for the second semi-final spot. In this way, when you look at it, this is the equation that is there. Again, I repeat, if West Indies win, India's path becomes very, very difficult to make it to the semi-final. They have to win both games by a margin of 60 runs or 70 runs if they are batting first. If they're chasing, they have to chase it down in maybe 10 overs or 12 overs to ensure that they get to that they overcome their net run rate deficit. But on the other hand, Pakistan. Now, Pakistan are staring at an absolute abyss at this point in time. England versus New Zealand is going to take place tomorrow, and Pakistan will take on Sri Lanka on Saturday. Basically, these are your two final games that you will be hosting in Sri Lanka. Because remember, if England beat New Zealand, then Pakistan have a slim chance. Then Pakistan have to beat Sri Lanka. Now, what is the equation in that? It is a question of 70 runs. If England beat New Zealand by 30 runs, Pakistan will have to beat Sri Lanka by about 40-50 runs. That is the equation we are looking at this point in time. If New Zealand win, the last match becomes immaterial. It is a dead rubber. If New Zealand manage to lose by 1, then Pakistan will have to win against Sri Lanka by about 60-70 runs. That is the equation. If they bat second, then it is a bigger disadvantage because they have to chase the total down in 12 overs to a 15-over range. That is the target that Pakistan have got at this point. So, the equation is a lot more difficult for India and Pakistan both. Pakistan more so, because they will be wondering what will New Zealand have to do then. England, if they win, they top the group. New Zealand, then they'll have to wait for Pakistan versus Sri Lanka, and Pakistan will have to win by a margin of over 40-70 runs in that kind of zone, depending on New Zealand's result against England. Then, today's game assumes even more importance now for this simple equation. 1. India versus Zimbabwe in Chennai. Will there be changes to the batting lineup? If you want to believe in Sitanshu Kotak, there is a dichotomy of his views. We are talking about it that they want to bring in someone to break the left-handed combination at this stage. But on the other hand, he said that there are no problems over Tilak and Abhishek. What do you believe them? That is the dichotomy of the thing. The one change that we will be expecting is an Akshar Patel. He is coming in definitely. That's one. But at number 2, what do you think? Is Sanju Samson going to come back in? Chepauk, M.A. Chidambaram Stadium, Chennai Super Kings. Sanju Samson is part of the side. Will he make it into the team on the basis of the poor form of Abhishek and Tilak? Are you going to break up the top order just because you had one bad match? Then you are going away from the template that has served you for 2 years. Essentially, how do you have confidence in an Abhishek and a Sanju when both are in bad form? Sanju Samson, 6 matches, 68. Abhishek, 4 matches, 15. It is Abhishek's slump that has thrown a spanner into the work of the Indian cricket team functioning. And that is why it'll be a brave call if they make a change. If Sanju Samson comes in, it'll be a very brave call. And then perhaps they'll stick with us even for the West Indies game in Kolkata. So that is the situation we are looking at this point in time. So it is a very interesting conundrum that has been developed at this point in time. So this is the situation in India versus Zimbabwe in Chepauk. See how that pans out at this stage. Now, as far as other sport event is concerned, the Prague International Masters has started, and Gukesh has spoken a lot on the sidelines about it, and this is a very vital tournament for all of them, considering even for Gukesh, he needs to come back to form in this particular tournament at this stage. So that is the situation we are looking at. And when you look at what has happened in football, Real Madrid has managed to do well. So that is the way, and Vinicius also contributing with the goal and silencing the racists at this stage. So it is a quite good situation that Real Madrid find themselves in. So I'll take a couple of comments that is there. And freaking awesome saying, I think Pakistan are out of the World Cup. In SL, winning itself is not easy. They can't play to increase their NRR. Unless it happens by a very good performance without planning, it's not possible. See, when it comes to Pakistan, Sri Lanka, anything can happen. Pakistan sometimes pull out their best against Sri Lanka. So this is the situation we are going to look at. But it's not going to be easy. If Pakistan bats second, it's all but game over. It's all but game over for them. So this is the situation we are looking at this point in time. And Piyush Nandre, I'm telling you, West Indies will beat RSA, India will beat Zim. Surprisingly, RSA will lose to Zim, India will lose to West Indies. India, Zim tie at 2 points on the basis of NRR, WI and Ind will qualify. Okay, that's a bold prediction. And see, with South Africa, it can happen. I mean, they were on the cusp of qualifying the last time around in 2022. They botched it up in royal style by losing to the Netherlands. So South Africa, Zimbabwe losing here in Delhi could happen. I'm not saying it won't happen, it could happen. But then India beating Zimbabwe and India losing to the West Indies, that is a bit... Could happen. Could happen. On the basis of NRR, India and West Indies will qualify. Well, let's see. West Indies will beat South Africa today. See, West Indies, if you look at it, they have a 14-15 head-to-head record against South Africa. In the T20 World Cup, it is 1-4. The one win, though, the one win came in India in 2016, Nagpur. That was a slow wicket. And West Indies somehow managed to beat South Africa in that particular encounter. But apart from that, all the other instances, it's been South Africa straight on. South Africa beat them in South Africa. They have beaten them in England. They have beaten them if memory serves me right, in UAE as well. And one win that West Indies have got is here. So West Indies will thrash South Africa and beat India with narrow margin. That I'm not so sure. West Indies, if they win and South Africa's net run rate is dented, it could happen. Could happen. It could happen. And India will thrash Zimbabwe. That will also happen. That can happen. But then let's not take any team lightly, yaar. I mean, we paid the price and we are echoing the sentiments of the broadcasters then. The broadcasters have been an absolute disgrace when it comes to their advertising and all of that. And 300 par, then the cupcake fiasco. I would say let us shun the arrogance for once. When it comes to all the other teams, let's play according to the merit. And if you had one bad day, you had one bad day. Simple. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this. And last comment I'll take, even if we lose wickets, we need to maintain 8 runs per over to stay in the game. That's why we lost against RSA. See, you lost because of poor batting. Simple. You lost because of poor batting and there was no adaptability. But such is the nature of the format that you're staring at a net run rate situation like 2012. One loss was enough for India to get eliminated. One loss. So that's the thing. M Zone is saying if West Indies winning by just 1 run, then also India out and South Africa win against Zimbabwe. Sure, that can also be the case. It will be a very close exam. So ask Jayaprakash, can you explain approximately what is the run rate with which India should win? See, West Indies win, then India will have to win against Zimbabwe and West Indies by a margin of over 60 runs. Both games by over a margin of 60-70 runs. That is slightly hard at this point. So that is the situation. If West Indies win today, then India has to win against Zimbabwe and West Indies are over 60-70 runs, provided they're batting first. Batting second, the equation changes. Batting second, then you have to chase the total down in maybe 13 overs, 15 overs, 17 overs. That's the zone you're looking at, 13 to 17 overs. If West Indies, if you are lagging behind a lot, it is so hard to catch up. It is very difficult. That's why this format is brutal. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this update. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and updates.